ribs. How long would that be?
Well, we're not 100% sure if it is, so he's still got to have X-rays and scans.
Depends on the severity of it, yeah.
But Lynch is confirmed.
Okay.
Brendan, given the Crows' indifferent start to the season and the need to sort of get a hurry on, how do you explain the first half? Because the players didn't seem to be with them.
No, it was a terrible first half. Our turnovers again, our kick turnovers, we kicked it exactly where Melbourne wanted it to, which was that high half-forward line of ours, and they just had... that's where they had their players, and we sort of played into their hands. We weren't able to change that quick enough, and it wasn't until the second half. We won the second half by 25 points with only 2 players on the bench. I think we had 63 inside 50s to 40. But Melbourne just flooded their numbers back and we just couldn't score. But you're right, the damage was done early. Really disappointing start. Hated the first half. Thankfully, we got a much better response in the second half. But, the horse had bolted. We just spent all our petrol tickets getting back into the game again. Only 2 on the bench. 6-day break coming back from Etihad. We were gallant, but, inexcusable today. Really disappointing performance, and we'll be working our boys pretty hard over the next 10 days before we play Collingwood.
Is there a problem with the mindset?
I hope not. I don't think so. I mean, we started the game, we kicked the first goal, and from then, the next, whatever it was, the next 45 minutes, we just played so poorly. We tried everything to try and get ourselves back into the game. It wasn't until the second half, a bit of individual brilliance from a few guys, Smith, Dangerfield, Sloan, Laird were all great. I thought McKay was great in the second half, but Daniel Talia's game was incredible as well. He was our best player, but not enough from the 21 that played today.
That notion of playing to where the spares are, that's not new against Adelaide. Who's not reading it on the ground?
Well, I think our defenders went into their shells after they made a couple of blues with the footy early on. Once they made a couple of mistakes early, it felt like they were all a bit nervous to take the ball forward. A lot of our kicking efficiency from back there was really poor, but it's up to the entire team. We have to be a bit more systematic with how we move the ball forward. We understand that that's how sides are going to try and play us, and that's flood numbers back across our high half-forward line. Having said that, Podsy Adley and Jenkins competed as best as they could, try and bring the ball to ground, but we were always outnumbered at ground level. So, they beat us in contested ball, they beat us in clearances. They played better than us today over 4 quarters, which is disappointing.
Again, so much left to so few. Why would that happen again?
It's making us very frustrated because we're relying on individuals to get us back into the game, not playing as a team. When we play well, and every week I'm in here after a win, we say we had an even contribution from 22 players. Typically after a loss, I'm saying we left it to too few. So, it's disappointing. We need more from more players. Disappointed to lose those 2 guys though early in the game. That hurt us a bit, but we were full of run late off a 6-day break. But disappointing.
If it keeps repeating, do you begin to then ask questions about the personnel you have?
You won't. We can't keep picking players if they aren't contributing. Once again, we've got guys going for small patches in the game where they're really good, and then they'll drift out for a quarter. You can't do that in the modern game. Football these days, you need to play consistent footy for 4 quarters, otherwise you're going to lose your spot. So, once again, our State League boys play tomorrow. Great opportunity for a few players to play well and hopefully put their hand up for Collingwood in 10 days.
Can you measure without Lynch in that game what it did to you, particularly working against?
Yeah, well, he almost places an extra mid for us. So Lynch's loss was important. I mean, he was one of our best players last week, and he's a forward that pushes really hard up and down the ground. We lost that after his injury, but that wasn't the reason we lost the game. It was a small factor, but not the key reason.
But it did limit what you could then do against that defence, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, we did look like we lost our structure a bit without that. I mean, he's a key player for us. once again, we've got a few guys playing tomorrow, whether it's, Walker, Andy Otten's played for us forward and played that role really well. So we've got some options. We just have to, decide which way we go. But, really shattered for Tommy Lynch. He can't take a trick at the moment. He injured in the pre-season, came back, dislocated his shoulder, one game back and then breaks his jaw. So disappointed for him.
What do you think you need to do to get a better return from your inside 50s? Because you had plenty of them.
Sometimes it's where we kick them, and if we're not getting outmarked there, they took 20 marks in our forward 50 today. We need to get an even number contribution there as best we can. Sometimes we're just sort of jamming it in there and jacking it in there, and there's not much sort of system about how we move the ball forward when we're playing poorly. The times we score really comfortably is when we get the ball to one-on-ones, two-on-twos, even number contests. But we've got to work out a way when oppositions push their numbers back, how we can be a bit more systematic with our ball use.
Are you banging it in from too far out?
Yeah, we are. We're kicking the ball from almost the logo, to get that sort of high inside 50s. But we really promote, as every club does, inside 30s. That's our key measure. Yeah. I don't think we had many inside 30s today. We did in the second half. Second half was much better, but first half we kicked it exactly where they wanted us to kick it.
That's your main concern, Brennan? Oh, it's a common theme, isn't it?
Yeah, it's becoming an issue, or not becoming. It's a major issue for us. We have to address. We talked about it a bit in there with the players. What feels wrong, what feels different. Compare the first quarter to the last quarter. What is the difference? So we're just not executing the basics and the fundamentals when it matters early in the game. We're waiting for the perfect option. Typically early in the game, the pressure's really hot. Opposition are at you. We're trying to do too much with the footy. We're just getting caught with the ball, overusing the handball. The list goes on, So we've got to strip that right back, make it really simple, and do our very best to get away to a good start from here on in.
Does it be much, Brent, that they're a side that's reactionary to what a scoreboard says rather than imposing on the game regardless of the scoreboard?
Yeah, it's an interesting point. There's probably something in that. We seem to play better when it's like, OK, we've got to really start going now. We've got to put the foot down. We've got to hit the accelerator. It's time to start really putting speed on the game before we really start to look great. So maybe you're a bit too careful early on. We're we're not simplifying enough for our players perhaps, but you're right. It's almost like when it feels like we can't win, that's when we start to play really well. So, I'm really disappointed. We really let our fans down today. That's the third home game already. Third game at Adelaide Oval we've lost. Our fans deserve better than that. They'll be really angry. We know that. We'll get back to training hard. We'll ensure we get a better four-quarter performance against the Pies in 10 days' time.
What do you think of the Dangerfield
match? At times it worked for us. I thought Bernie played very well today. He was really important. I think it was the third quarter. He won a ton of clearances and he was really good inside the contest. We know his ball use is great outside the contest. He was an important player for Melbourne. So.
Well, was it the matchup you wanted, or did you want to sit on him and then, because he went to Dangerfield, that changed it?
Oh, no, not so much. I don't think he spent all game on Dangerfield. There was times when it was a different matchup, but we sent Kerridge to Jones. I liked that matchup. Yeah. Kerridge did a good job, kept Jones out of the game. He's their prolific ball winner and clearance player. I thought Danger was very good for us at times today too. He's one of those ones, that individual stuff that he does just sets us alight. We'll review the game. There's probably some mistakes that we made we'd like to have over again. I'm sure Melbourne will be the same, but I just wish we took those opportunities in front of goal. 9 goals 13 to 11 goals 4. It's not going to win you too many games.
So does 3 and 4 make you rethink where this group is?
No, I don't think so. We've just got to make sure we do our very best to beat the Pies next week, get back to 4 and 4, take it one game at a time. It's a long way in the season to go. Got some talent coming back into the team, hopefully next week or next round. So we won't ever give up. We won't ever reevaluate where we're at. We'll just keep trying to win footy games. So that starts in 10 days' time with the Pies.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ross.